dude is going to prove everybody wrong again.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with an update of Urs Start, who by the way has decided to start this prep very early for this upcoming Miss Olympia. Well, the thing is, we are still over 5 months out of this year's big show. And Urs was weighing 260 pounds. And that too very lean, at the peak of his off-season. So he has to drop roughly 30 pounds to make that weight cutoff for classic physique. So he's gonna take this prep nice and easy, and he's gonna go slow and steady, so that he doesn't have to go through any drastic protocols, especially in the last minute to make the weight. Now, out of all the classic physique shows that Urs has done as a pro, he hasn't had any mishaps, or any kind of problems making the weight cutoff. But this year, it's different this time, because this is the very first time Urs came onto the scene that he skipped this year's Arnold, Ohio, and the man is just focused on just one show, the Olympia this year. And this is the very first time Urs took a proper off-season, and the man has been in the growing phase since the Olympia last year. And with a top 3 finish, he earned his automatic qualification for the Olympia this year, the one and only show that truly matters, and the one that counts the most. And for the very first time in the past 9 years, the title is up for grabs, as this time there is no defending champion. So Urs has set pretty high expectations for his physique, especially this time around. And the biggest of them all, that is getting under a Munzer level shredded.
Boggles my mind that you make weight. You know Andreas Munzer?
Yeah.
The old bodybuilder
Who?
who died, Andreas Munzer.
Oh, Munzer.
Munzer.
Yeah.
What? Just shredded I gonna be.
That's a shredded, you know?
Yeah. Because he cooked away.
So I think Urs is gonna enter this year's Miss Olympia more confident than ever before, because there is not even one athlete in the current classic physique top ranks whom Urs hasn't beaten before, once or some even twice already. So his back improved a lot in the past few years, especially from the Arnold, Ohio last year to the Olympia last year. But that being said, the gap between him and a guy like Mike Sommerfeld, who as of right now is the frontrunner to win that classic physique title this year, that is still night and day, especially in the depth and the density of the back between these two guys. So obviously Urs is gonna show up with some major improvements this time around, and I certainly hope that is in fact the case. Fuel your workouts with the best supplements in the game and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have an update from Rubiel Mosquera, aka Nexilla. So the man is looking big and round, but at the same time, pretty lean as well finally this time around. So one of the biggest shows of the year, Dubai Pro, is just under 7 weeks away now. And if Rubiel wants to have a solid impact at his next show, which is gonna be after 1 year, he has to lock himself down in a box, no distractions whatsoever, and be 100% focused for the next 7 weeks. Because the judges were pretty clear that the condition that he brought last year at this same show in Dubai, they just won't reward him, irrespective of the size and the stage presence. They want to see more detail, more separation, and more sharpness all over his physique. Now that being said, Rubiel can certainly shock the entire bodybuilding world once again, just like he did back in Prague Pro at his pro debut, if only he can bring the condition. Now for whatever reason, people have forgotten how complete and dangerous he looked, especially in the side shots, when he was truly on at his pro debut. Now a lot of things went completely wrong for him last year before the weight pro prejudging, especially in those final 48 hours. But still he presented a decent enough package. Now he's a type of athlete with so much unusual size, so much freakiness, that he can just bully people on the stage with his enormous size, if only he can bring bad conditioning. So the guy is just 29 years old, so the time is definitely on his side. But he has to show more commitment. So Prague Pro 2023 was the standard that Rubiel set for himself. And that was one hell of an impressive look by him. And that too just at his first show. So let's just hope he shows up with some major improvements this time around. Now we do not know whether it's possible for him to have more separation in his squats, because if he does, he's gonna look completely and totally crazy on the stage and so goddamn unbelievable. And the same thing goes with his shoulders as well. He desperately needs more cap delts. So cannot wait to see his final package. Next up, we have an update from Martin-Fitzwater. So he hasn't been revealing his full physique update, but he's posting all these unfiltered, day-to-day stuff on his road to this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. So that right there is 12 days out. And that rest day physique update, that can be so misleading. And the first impression that must be that he still looks very small. And also that he doesn't look ready. Well, you have to go back to that game plan of Martin and Stefan, where they said that in case Derek decides to do this show, this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, they will go for extra conditioning. And they would like to take it up a notch in terms of the shreds. And that is exactly what Martin has been doing all this time. He looks tired. He's speaking very slowly, all indicative of one simple fact, that he's suffering like crazy to bring something special this time around.
Another good day, happy with the look. I'm definitely depleted throughout the day. I'm definitely flatter this afternoon than I was this morning.
And the man is fully depleted right now. And maybe that is his best bet. The fact is he isn't gonna be bigger than either Nick or Derek. He's gonna be better in terms of symmetry than Nick, but not Derek, especially the way Derek's quads looked at this past Arnold. So the area where he can potentially beat both these guys is the conditioning and the detail, and maybe Derek in terms of the density and the thickness. Because the thing is, Derek's Arnold physique, that just had tremendous overall detail. Now we know Martin is in it to win it, and he finally spoke about this. So Chris Cormier, in the latest episode of the Menace podcast, he had an inside scoop on how Martin feels about this year's Pittsburgh Pro, especially about the mutant Nick Walker. And if he places Vaughn up here, that won't be a loss in his mind, because then he'll be losing to a former Miss Olympia Derek.
I got a text message from Martin. He said Nick ain't beating me.
That's text message.
Listen to our podcast. He listened to our podcast and he said Nick ain't beating him.
Now to everyone thinking that Martin in all of these videos, he doesn't look very impressive. Well, I have to tell you guys, just wait for another few days for that hot push and then the introduction of those carbs. That look is gonna change drastically and his physique is gonna come back to life in no time. And if his quads have actually gotten a lot bigger since the Olympia last year, he's gonna have one of the best X-frame on the stage, and his V-taper, that is gonna be pronounced even more than before. So you guys almost know Andrei Deiu, the most famous guy in the men's physique pro circuit right now. Now we know they do not reward the most freaky looking physique in that specific division. But the way this guy is looking at 4 weeks out, that is probably the most freaky looking physique. And that too in a good way, in that entire men's physique division right now. So how many of you guys know that he was given this feedback from the judges, that his arms are just way too big for this division? And the fact is they weren't wrong. That was one of the major reasons Andrei even announced that he's gonna be switching to classic physique category. And that was the time he was working with Honey Rembot. But after almost 1 year of totally coming off all the PEDs, all the gear, every super supplement, Andrei is now back in the game. And he means business this time around. So this guy has been gifted with some of the most incredible muscle bellies in the entire men's physique division. And he's absolutely shredded at the moment. So there was that 1 year when Andrei made his Olympia debut and he immediately cracked top 5 at the Olympia. So compare these two physiques and it's pretty clear that Andrei has gotten a lot bigger. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what the final package looks like. Even the champ Ryan Terry, he predicted that Andrei is about to be a very big force in the men's physique division this year. Colossus Ken aka Kennedy's pro debut at this upcoming New York Pro, that is gonna be a very anticipated one. So right now just a little over 2 weeks out and looking so sharp. So it feels like Ken has downsized to a considerable degree in the last few weeks. But the fact is he must be super flat at the moment. And even if he's not, only a normal size, that just isn't gonna get him a decent placing at this upcoming New York Pro. So we keep on going back to his 10 weeks out look, where he posed for Evan Santopani and John Jewett, because that was a larger than life character. But even at that time, he was advised to just focus on getting shredded for his pro debut. Now in all honesty, he could not have picked a more difficult show For his pro debut, guys like William Bonac, Regan Grimes, Michael Crezu, they are already confirmed for this show, and possibly a guy like the Mutant as well. And these are all top Olympians, and this list is expected to grow even more in the upcoming days, especially after this year's Pittsburgh Pro. Nevertheless, this will surely be a start of a very exciting pro career. So we are all eagerly waiting to see Ken on the stage, because all that additional size that Ken has put on during the last 1.5 years, that is simply mind-blowing. Now there are a bunch of shows lined up after this year's New York Pro, and Ken should 100% compete in multiple of those, since it has been a very long diet phase for him. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.